Joining us now in the studio is Mike Evans, founder of Friends of Zion and the Jerusalem Prayer Team. Shalom.
Shalom, Yoni. Good to see you.
Good to see you. You just came here to us, to Jerusalem from the south.
Yes.
Sirens, explosions.
I literally came from the south. I came from Texas, the south, to go south.
Tell us about your experience in the past few hours. You heard the sirens. Nothing's new to you, but still feeling it from close.
No, when you see a kindergarten that was bombed in the last 24 hours, you go into a home of an 80-year-old woman who was a Holocaust survivor. Her assistant was killed, and she's in the hospital, and her house is destroyed. These things break your heart. I came there to find out how we can help, and also to inform the evangelicals of the world, by the way, there's 750 million of us, what the truth is, because Israel is fighting two wars. A ground war, which, by the way, they're winning, but an ideological war, which they always lose, because the liars have been greater than the truth tellers.
But how do you win the media war? How do you tell the story in a different way? Because it's just an organization, it's a terror organization, it's not a state fighting. And how could you shoot at these buildings? And how could you shoot and fire and destroy the AP building, God forbid?
He who defines the terms controls the debate. Mm-hmm. Israel has to think about one thing. It's insanity for Israelis to argue about the left, right. Those are the wings of the bird. They need to think about the bird and its branding. Herzl understood his vision and dream. Israel has a brand, and its brand is moral clarity. And it needs to stay with its brand and defend its brand and not deviate, not take the bait. Listen, when I used to come here in the days of Begin, and someone would try to sell me something, by the time they finished talking, they talked me out of buying it because they were apologizing and apologizing. I said, why are you apologizing? I'm trying to buy it.
Jews.
That's the problem. Defend the brand. It's a great brand. It's a moral clarity brand. You're right and they're wrong.
What are your 3 points? If you had only 3 points that you could tell the world to try to make them understand what's really going on here in the South and throughout Israel, what would you say?
I would tell them, number one, Israel values life. Israel is the only country in the world, not America, the only country in the world that goes to exceedingly great lengths to avoid killing people. Not to kill them, to avoid killing people. We didn't do it in Iraq. We sure didn't do it in Afghanistan. Israel values life. Number one, Israel's enemies value death. They have no value for life. And thirdly, Israel is not defending its land. It's defending its people. People are not killed over land in Israel. They're killed because they're Jews. They're killed for their Jews. Listen, if Israel's the size of New Jersey, if the Ku Klux Klan was in New Jersey firing missiles into Harlem saying, we only want whites living in Harlem, no blacks. Mm-hmm. And we're going to keep firing missiles until all you blacks get out. Who in America would stand by that? But that's precisely what the world's telling us, Israel. It
feels like a lost war. You
no,
see,
it's not lost.
John Oliver, you saw what he said just recently. What the hosts on TV, mainstream media in America are saying against Israel.
Listen, you just have to speak up louder than the enemy. They say, and I'm hearing even from this present administration, they say, well, they deserve the right for security. Excuse my French, bullshit. Nazis never deserved the right for security. ISIS never deserved the right for security. To hell with Gaza's right for security. Hamas has no right for security. I want to kill you and you have to defend my right for security? You're nuts. Israel needs to stand tall and speak loudly, louder than its enemies, and stop apologizing.
And while we do see Biden himself and also Blinken saying that Israel has its right to defend itself. You are disappointed that we're hearing both sides. Both sides need to come.
Blinken is blinking. Joe Biden is happy Joe, trying to get along with everybody. He's got some good pro-Israel in him. He's not a bad guy. He's a nice guy. But what did I do with Donald Trump? I was the Israel guy for the evangelical movement. I looked him in the face and I told him, if you want to be president, stand by Israel. Recognize Jerusalem, its capital. On and on and on. And he listened to us because we didn't blink and we didn't back down. Israel has nothing to apologize for. They're doing the right thing, and they need to stand up for their righteous cause, and they need to realize they have a lot of friends. I've got 77 million of us that support Israel, and there's 750 million evangelicals, and most of them are evangelical Zionists.
Regarding those 77 million, they have a hard time finding you guys on Facebook. Tell us about what happened there. It's like a cyber terror attack.
It was exactly that. I was flying in here because tomorrow we're hosting a global Facebook event for the state of Israel. John Boyd is in it. Pat Boone's in it. Franklin Graham, the son of Billy Graham. Governor Mike Huckabee. Most of the top evangelical advisors to the president. They're all pre-taping. On the plane, I'm informed, Facebook has shut our site down. We are the largest site in religion, largest pro-Israel site, and one of the top 30 sites in the world. What? How can they do this? Radical Islamic cyber terrorists attacked our site with over 1 million posts attacking Jews, calling them pigs and dogs. Hitler should have killed them all. Then they turned around and went to Facebook and said, we never made those comments.
They complained against your page for having those posts.
I spammed them.
Wow.
So what did Facebook do? What did the Jewish guy who runs Facebook do for the Christians who are trying to rally prayer for the Jews? He pulls the plug on us and shuts us down.
So you contacted Facebook?
We tried, but we didn't have any good. So I contacted a few friends, like Jared Kushner, like Mike Pompeo, and about a dozen senators, a few friends. But I got communication from a friend moments ago, your foreign minister, Ashkenazi, who's calling Facebook to tell them to stand down, because it's rotten to the core for Facebook, who claims to be the protector of truth and the opposition to fake news, to allow the very devils who perpetrated to be rewarded. They're celebrating. I'm reading the post in Al Jazeera. The very guy who orchestrated it is bragging.
You know who that is?
Yes, I do. He's from Jordan.
Wow.
He's done it to Israel several times.
Wow.
This is no big surprise. But by the way, he has a Facebook site. And he's bragging on his Facebook site what he pulled off on us. Wow. I'm not going to apologize to Facebook. What I'm doing is a cause greater than myself that gives me great joy. Israel has risen from the dead. And they rose from the dead on the blood and the tears of their forefathers. Dignity, support your brand, support this nation, and speak louder than those enemies.
Finally, just a few words about this amazing support, the evangelical Christian support. What is your answer to people who say, maybe we shouldn't receive the support from the Christians? They might be trying to convert us. They might be missionary. You've heard that already in the past.
Listen,
what do you answer?
I tell them, they're not doing a very good job. You're Jews, and you're proud Jews, and you have a Jewish state. No, listen, the vast majority of evangelicals don't have hidden agendas. There's some nut jobs in there, but there's some nut jobs in Judaism too, and in every group. But the vast majority of evangelicals are like me. I only want one thing, to combat anti-Semitism. Nothing else. That's my only agenda. I'm very infamous. Very famous because so many people hate me, like the ones who attacked my Facebook site. But it's a wonderful nation. It's a miracle of God. And any of us that are Christians are touching the apple of God's eye. And we're doing something precious and great. And by the way, I'll be the first. If I have some jerk show up and tell me, I'm a Messianic rabbi and he's a preacher with a kippur, I say, you're a fraud. You're a fraud. You don't even speak Hebrew. You've never been to rabbinical school. Get out of my life. Israel has nothing to apologize for. I have nothing to apologize for. It's a great cause and a great country, and it's doing a great work.
Mike Evans, founder of Friends of Zion and of the Jerusalem Prayer Team. Thank you very much and good luck.
You're welcome very much.